We're going to look at doing some insert and overwrite edits now using 3-point editing. So I'm going to start off a basic compilation edit of scenes from Africa. So I'm going to start with a wide shot, and I'm going to use a shot of a waterfall. The first thing that you would do is you would mark an in and an out point, so you have the action that you want to go onto the timeline between the in and the out. So I've just selected the part of the pan across the top of the ledge looking down into the canyon below. So I have 2 points on my clip. I've got an in and an out, so I know how long the clip is going to be when I add it to the timeline. I just need to position it on the timeline now. So I can do that in a few ways. If I wanted, I could put an in point at the start so that I will have my 3 points of information and I'd be able to add it that way. But it's quicker to just put the playhead where you need it to be and use that as your third point. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that my playhead is at the top of the timeline here at the first frame, and then I'm going to drag this over onto insert, and I would generally use F9 to do this. So that's my first clip. Now the next clip that I'm going to add is a shot of a hippo. This time what I want to do is I want to specify on the timeline how much space it's going to take up, and then add the hippo so that it fills that space. So I'll put an in point at the end of the clip I've just added, and I'm going to go forward 4 seconds. And I'm going to put an out point. So I have 2 points here. Now I need to select my clip, and I only actually need 1 point now. So what I can do is I can clear the out point here using Alt and O, and when I insert this to the timeline, if you watch where the clip goes, it should go perfectly in between the in and the out. So I had my 3 points, 2 on the timeline, 1 on the clip. So these are 2 ways that you would insert using 3 points. Now the overwrite is done in much the same way, except that instead of inserting a clip in between and all of the other clips moving out of the way, actually I'll do one more insert just to show a clip being inserted in between 2 clips. So I have my Victoria Falls and my hippo, so I'm going to put a shot of a leopard, a short shot of a leopard in between those 2. So I give it about 3 seconds in the viewer, so my clip is going to have 2 points specifying the duration. I also have a point on the timeline where it's going to be inserted. So now I can just click the insert button here or hit F9, and it goes in between the 2 clips. So if I just undo that, and if you watch the timeline, you'll see it insert and the clip immediately after it being moved up the timeline to make room for it. Now I'm going to undo that edit, and I'm going to shorten my leopard clip down to about 1 second. This time I'm going to do an overwrite, and the overwrite is symbolized by the red icon. So if you watch the timeline, when I click now, it puts it onto the timeline using my in and my out, my playhead position, but it doesn't insert it in between clips. It overwrites the clip that was at that position. So inserting and overwriting are done in much the same way, depending on whether you want to specify the duration of the clip up here or the duration of the target down here. So they're both done roughly in the same way, except they have a different result. Now the other thing I want to point out here is that you can specify a clip to come in to the timeline, except instead of specifying an in and out and a position that it goes into, that you can specify the duration that you want the clip to be in the timeline, and then by setting just an out point, you do what's called a backtime edit. So let me just talk through what a backtime edit is. I know how long the clip is going to be when it gets down onto the timeline. I haven't specified a duration on the clip, but I have specified that I want the clip to be inserted on the timeline and to end at this point. I have 3 points now, an in and an out on the timeline and an out point on the viewer. So I can do a backtime edit. So I'm going to do a backtime insert. So the clip is inserted up to the point where I put the out point. So a typical use for a backtime edit is where you're editing some sports footage and the player scores a goal. And you want to show the lead up to that goal, but you want the goal to be at the end of the clip, and you want it to fill a particular amount of space on the timeline. That is when you would use a backtime edit.